Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what we have in store for you today. The story goes something like this. My wife battled cancer and won, but now wants to have an ONS with a soon-to-be former co-worker, and I have no say in the matter. Accept it or destroy 20 plus years of a great marriage. This is a complete story with 2 updates, so stay with us until the end of the video. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I've been married to my wife since 2001, and we were first acquainted in 1999. She is the most thoughtful, loyal, intelligent, and kind person that I have ever met. And I have always considered myself lucky to have married her. Men have told her over the course of our marriage that she is still very attractive. They've always been turned down by her. Earlier this year, she was diagnosed with uterine cancer stage 1 and had a full hysterectomy. I was never concerned about the cancer. It was diagnosed early, dealt with quickly, and she made a full recovery. I took time off work to look after her after the surgery, and all seemed well. There were some to be expected emotional instances on her part, and although I am not an emotional person, we dealt with them together. After her recovery, she was insistent that we start living life to the fullest and took a 10-day trip to Europe, followed by a trip to Belize. We also have a trip to the UK and Spain and Portugal later this year. I am fine with these things. Building memories and ticking bucket list adventures off our list. I also understand that these are a result of feeling fragile on her part. She also took up yoga, swimming, and healthy cooking classes. I was fully on board until last week. Last week, she came home from work and told me she wanted a hall pass, a one-time opportunity for her to have physical relations with someone else besides me. She said that since her cancer diagnosis, her outlook on life has changed and she doesn't want to be handcuffed from doing things she wants to do. She explained that there is this guy at her work that she has always had some attraction to. He is leaving the company and she will never see him again, so this is the perfect opportunity to be with someone else. She said that I could say no, of course, but that she would be disappointed in me for an indeterminate amount of time, and that it would be confirmation of my male toxicity and insecurity. I don't consider myself to be toxic, but if not wanting your wife of 20 plus years to have relations with someone else is insecure, then I guess I am insecure. I told her that I appreciated her talking to me about this, but approval via coercion is not approval. I also said that I do not appreciate her describing my as of yet unknown reaction to this very large issue that could affect the rest of our marriage. I got up in the morning. She basically said that she was sorry for putting such a large decision solely on my shoulders and that she was taking the decision away from me. She booked a hotel near where her co-worker was having a party for this guy, and she would spend the night there with him and hoped that I would be there when she got back, that she would answer any questions I have about the night after it happened, but not before. She will not tell me who he is or anything about him because she knows me too well and that I will dwell and obsess over him, and that would make it too real for me, which is pretty accurate. Her take is the less I know the better, which contradicts the offer to tell me anything I want to know after it happened. I think she knows I do not want to know anything, or she simply will not tell me. Part of me thinks at least she has been honest with me and she has been through a lot since finding out that she had cancer, so maybe I should just let it happen. I certainly have no concept of what she went through, so I cannot dismiss how this affected her mental outlook on life. Part of me wants to put my foot down and say this is not going to happen and deal with those consequences when they happen. Her BFF called me callous for even suggesting that I wouldn't let it happen, because I have no idea what she went through. I find it hard to believe that she is okay with the possibility of throwing away 20 plus years of marriage over some guy that she has had no relationship with outside of work, and that I should just call her bluff. Maybe she thinks similarly, that I won't throw away the marriage because of one encounter. I just don't know what to do. I empathize with her, and then in an instant, I am angry with her. Now, here's the first update to this story. I received a ton of advice that I couldn't possibly respond to. I do appreciate the people who took the time to offer advice in the comments or via PM. It has been an exhausting couple of days. I was hoping that my opposition to her plans would give her pause, but unfortunately that did not happen. I said I am a hard no, and I am not sure how I will feel about you if you go ahead with it. I was met once again with her words, "This is for me, it will be one time. What can I say to help you deal with it? You'll get over it. We were meant to be together regardless of the situation." Remarks leading up to Saturday. She left Saturday, ostensibly to meet her co-workers, but in reality to mess around with the other man. I asked her to text me when she was leaving for the bar, and when she did, I asked her if she was really going to go through with this. After her response, "I am not answering any more questions tonight. I will see you tomorrow," I blocked my wife. Then I did something either stupid or brilliant. I went to the bar where the get-together was happening. Well, not the bar, but a transit bench across the street. I waited for a long time. It was running through my mind leading up to this event that I needed to know who this guy was, maybe to compare myself against him, to see what he had that I did not. It was driving me crazy not knowing who he was and what was so special about him that she would ruin a marriage for. After what seemed to be an eternity, a woman that I recognized from my wife's office left the bar and got in a cab. Soon other people started filing out, and a whole group came out and people were hugging a man and shaking his hand. I assumed that I had my guy. I didn't see my wife and had a brief thought that maybe she called it all off. I unblocked her and there were no messages. Everyone said their goodbyes and left. The dude was standing outside for a few minutes and then my wife came out. She looked around, took his hand and started walking away together. Of all the emotions I went through, trepidation, sadness, anger, it was disgust that really encapsulated the event for me. This guy was short, fat and bald, all the things I cannot compete with. Ultimately, I felt like a pervert for watching from a distance. I followed until they got to the hotel and then turned around and went home. I woke up Sunday morning and put a lock on the master bedroom door. I moved her things to the spare room and left a note asking her to find other accommodations as quickly as possible. I visited another friend who is a lawyer and he gave me some sage advice and a couple of recommendations for divorce attorneys and made the introductions. My wife had been calling me numerous times since around 11 or so. Once blocked, the calls go to voicemail. I listened to the first couple but felt nothing but some satisfaction when she couldn't get through to me and she was obviously becoming concerned. I didn't want to go home, but I left in such a hurry that I didn't plan an overnight properly. I got home around 9 and as per my buddy's advice, I recorded the interaction. I was halfway up the stairs when she came up from the family room asking what was going on. Could we talk? I thought we talked about this. I just answered that I was not interested in discussing this tonight and went to bed. After not getting a response from me through the door, she left me alone. I feel like kind of a child for not talking with her and shutting the door on her, but I just couldn't look at her. On Monday, I got up and was ready for work. She was waiting for me and asked if we could discuss getting back to normal. I said, "You have been doing all the talking for the both of us for the last week, so please continue," and left for work. I have an appointment with the attorneys my friend recommended for this week. Well, that was the end of the second update. We have the final update coming up next. But before that, if you enjoyed the story so far, please hit that like button so this story will reach more and more beautiful people like you around the world. Now here is the final update to this story. My lawyer wasn't available for a few days, so I was faced with the reality of having to live with my wife in the interim. I really didn't want to go home and have any discussion, let alone a discussion about our relationship. When I did get home, I was basically ambushed by her friends and my mother in law. Instead of taking a remorseful approach, they decided that a full court press was what the situation warranted, and I was basically berated by them. The BFF was definitely the ringleader, but all of them decided to say such things as, "She's been through a lot. You don't know what she's been through. You have no idea what it is like to face something like this. This was a one-time thing. At least she told you. She could have hidden it from you. She will never see the guy again. And my favorite, you are a POS for what you have been putting her through these last couple of days." I listened with a dumb smirk on my face, and when there was a lull in their fury, I asked if they were all done now. Then I asked my wife if there was anyone in her circle of friends or anyone else that she forgot to tell about this. I quietly informed all of them that I was going to sit down with their husbands and tell them about how they insulted me, shaming me, and trying to coerce me into staying with a cheater. After I told them to leave, I said I had no say in the entire event, and so they had no say in whether I stayed or not. My soon-to-be ex-wife sort of apologized. She said that she regretted the entire thing. I said that there's a difference between regret and remorse. You regret what happened because of the cause and effect. You have regret because your life will never be the same. Our relationship will never be the same because you were wholly and willfully unconcerned about me and what I wanted. She asked if I had any questions, and she would answer them now, no matter how disturbing it was. I said that the one question I do have is why? Not necessarily with this guy. Why this low-end, unattractive, unfit guy? But why someone else in the first place? She said that the cancer scared her to her core. She felt like she was rushing towards mortality, and stepping out of that tunnel was appealing. She said that after all this time of being a wife, a mother, and worrying about family, this was something just for her, an escape. The guy was just someone who had been interested in her for a long time, and she knew he wouldn't say no to her. I said if I was going to risk my marriage, the woman would have to be a serious upgrade from you. I told her that I saw you and him coming out of the bar that night. I watched you walk away from the bar hand in hand towards the hotel. I said that you looked too familiar with each other and asked if there was something going on before all this. She said no, but who knows if that is the truth or not. I said that after all our years together, your lack of respect for me was astonishing. I finished by saying that I would never be able to look at myself in the mirror again if I considered that level of disrespect and stayed with you. I said I hope we can go our separate ways amicably and that I have an appointment with a lawyer later this week. I again asked her to find some other accommodations, and she simply said, "I'm not going anywhere. We are not getting a divorce. I will give you all the time you need and do whatever you need to recover from this. We will get past this." She has asked me to go to marriage counseling, which I refused. Why would I go to counseling? I did nothing to warrant needing a therapist's advice. I had her served with divorce papers and gave her the notice to vacate because the house was my premarital asset. She has moved in with her mum, but I find her constantly coming by to see if I need anything or making suggestions like, "What if we had an open relationship, only on your side, or three ways," which seems kind of desperate and pathetic. Rebuffing her constantly and telling her that she has to call to ask permission before coming by, and finally seems to be getting through to her that there will be no us going forward. She has said that she will drag the divorce out for as long as possible, but so far has been compliant. The worst part of all this is telling my daughter that we are getting a divorce and why, followed closely by her begging me to give her mum another chance. I'm not sure I would have been afforded the same consideration if I was the one who was cheating. I think it was just a gut reaction in the weeks that have passed, and the more she understands what has happened, the more irritated she is becoming with her mum. I loved my wife. I and others found her to be stunning. Now, knowing that her affairs down so low makes her a non-entity, and I could never look at her the same way again. No amount of counseling is going to change the way I see her. And that's the end of the story, my friends. Well, OP, poor you. Years of marriage down the drain, all because your ex wife wanted to get some. She's incredibly selfish for her actions, and the fact that she doesn't seem remorseful about it really shows. Also, the friends and mother in law sound awful as well. A relationship is a partnership, it's not a monarchy. She thought that she was the queen and you would remain a loyal subject. I'm sorry you have to go through this, but I'm happy for you that you held on to your self respect and worth and didn't take the scraps of regret that she was throwing your way. Hopefully, you have a long and safe journey for your own good.